I remember one time I was crying in my car, like really, really hard. I had no money. I was working a temp job, didn't have any gas.
Wow.
It was horrible. There's a
Wow.
couple of times where, I should have been here. But I always said to myself, this is not the end.
Meet Sedric Lowery.
A self-made seven-figure entrepreneur.
7 years ago, he battled hard times. Now he's turning that pain into power, making over $1 million and teaching others how to build wealth.
You can get life wrong 10,000 times. You just don't have to be right once. Some of you guys may have heard this before, but everybody is getting used in some way, shape, or form. It's about not getting misused. You're one conversation away from whatever goal, whatever dream. It just takes one conversation.
What's going on, friends? Thank you so much for tuning in for another great episode of Tom Talk Success, where we bring you a lot of different entrepreneurs, people that want to level up, real estate investors, whatever you are, as long as you commit to yourself and want to achieve more, you're in a good spot. So today I have a pleasure to introduce a good friend of mine, Sedrick. Sedrick have done a lot of stuff throughout his business, and we'll talk about it in a second. Sedrick, thank you so much for jumping on, man.
It's a pleasure, man. Always good to see you, brother. Always good. I love the energy.
Appreciate that, bro.
Every time I'm in your presence, bro.
I appreciate that.
I love it.
And so just like we spoke about, I want us to talk about, how important it is, dude, when, you meet somebody new, how important it is. So you invited me, we did a content day on one of the jets. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we kind of did that, we sit down with each other, we're like, Seth, how can we help each other? And so talk to the audience, bro, about how important it is. Like when I saw the text, I was like, you are serious about creating a partnership, a friendship, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, so what happens a lot of times, guys, is people wait too long to, I guess you could say, take action when it comes to nurturing relationships. I move fast, which is why I have certain results in my life when it comes to relationships, when it comes to business, when it comes to finance and all these other things, is because I don't wait, man. Like, if we met, why would I wait a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line? You could be busy. This podcast is going to launch and go to a completely different level. Let's say you had, some Shaq or somebody on here, or LeBron James. Maybe you ain't got time for me in 4 months, right? Because I didn't take what we said as men seriously, what we said as entrepreneurs and businessmen seriously. So I take those things to heart. That's why, I'm like, man, look, we had a meeting. We said we're going to start networking with each other. We said we're going to, start helping each other out. I die by my word. So.
And right away you called me, which
right
I took, and I was like, yeah, this guy is serious, like, I love it. And so why do you think people taking their time? Like, is it because they're not feeling comfortable with a lot of people? Like, I feel like it's a big mistake that they're doing. By why they're doing this mistake?
I feel like people, how could I put this? I feel like they mean well, but they don't have like this sense of urgency, right? Like, I look at time, I would say, differently from everyone else. I feel like people feel like they have all the time in the world. So I think that's what it is, man. People think like, oh, okay, I met this person. Okay, I'm gonna build this thing up for 4 to 6 months, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do that. And before you know it, you're 4 years, 5 years, 6 years behind on relationships. And 9 times out of 10, you're behind on your bills because you feel like you have all this time in the world. I don't see it like that, man. Like, let's take the opportunity right now. So it's all about the now, man. Power in the now.
So just so you guys know, we went to that content day on the jet, and we kind of, Sedrick called all of us to his house. And Sedrick clearly came to us and it was like, all right, guys, how can we make money today? And and I was like, dude, this guy is freaking serious, we don't like, and you said like 2025, we don't play anymore. Like, it's time. And that's how you guys should be, right? When you're seeing an opportunity, all right, how can we do something today? Just like, it's kind of similar to the sentence I said to you. So me and Sedrick, we went on a coffee, and I told him, what can we do? Like, how can we help each other? And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs or people that kind of want to level up, they're missing this. They're like more like, how can you help me? And that's it. They forget about the help back.
They don't want the exchange, right? Like, some of you guys may have heard this before, but everybody is getting used in some way, shape, or form. It's about not getting misused, right?
Love it.
And I don't understand why there's this like negative stigma. Typically, without getting super deep, is typically a stigma that's pushed onto people through media, just through low vibrational people, that you're not supposed to be getting used for anything. Well, that doesn't make any sense, because guess what? The people that you guys look up to, athletes, actors, all these people, journalists, people on ESPN, people that, do holistic care, whatever stuff, whoever it is that you're following right now, they're being used. They're either being used by the consumers who's buying their product, their mentorship, or they're being used by media, or what. Like, everyone is getting used in some way, shape, or form. And it's a very beautiful thing that I think a lot of people need to embrace. A lot of people need to think differently about. Yeah, man, like, everybody's getting used for something, and it's, like I said,
like it's fine,
it's good.
right?
Yeah,
like
there's nothing wrong with it.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need to understand that, all right, like, if Sedrick is doing one thing and I'm doing the other thing, it's totally fine. Like, how can, like I said, how can we collab? And so, Sedrick, I want to talk to you about your story originally. And so I remember when we were on the jet, you said something interesting. You said there was the days that you couldn't afford like $100, or I don't really remember, something like that. And dude, how is it to like make it being flying on jets and stuff like that? Like, what? I'm sure there is a lot of change you did, but I'm sure it's all started in the mental game. And so talk to us about that change that you made for yourself.
Yeah, so one of the biggest changes that I made is I started seeing myself as who I am going to become, and not who I am right in that very moment, from the physical, from the physical standpoint, right? Like, this has always been in me, not on me. You know what I'm saying?
I love it, bro.
So I remember one time I was crying in my car, like really, really hard.
That was how, like, just so the audience.
This was rough.
Can,
This was
5 years ago?
Nah, this was like maybe 10 years ago.
Got it.
Yeah, roughly like 10 years ago. Crying in my car, had no money. I was working a temp job, didn't have any gas. It was horrible. But through those conditions, obviously, that made me into the individual that I am now. So I appreciate those times. But I always said to myself, this is not the end. There's no way.
So you had a hope.
Yeah. I always had hope. I've always been, this optimistic person, and people think that I'm crazy. You know what? I am fucking crazy. I'm crazy enough.
There's nothing bad in it.
Yeah. I'm crazy enough to believe, why not me? Why not? Why? I'm down at my lowest point. Bro. Like, there's only up from here. Why not me? Why can't I, be on these jets? Why can't I be on these podcasts? Why can't I influence thousands of people all over the world with, with my story? My story is unique. I feel like I'm able to even connect with people that maybe they didn't experience a crazy hardship from the standpoint of like living in your car or not having money for this or that. But there's some times where people feel homeless, although they have a physical house, because having a home, it consists of love, it consists of happiness, a nurturing environment. So sometimes people see homelessness, oh, like, you lived in your car. It's like, yeah, but there's somebody listening right now that
could be in the same situation and getting inspired.
Exactly.
And so it's crazy how life, if you think about it, that one day you're probably looking on YouTube, or maybe in that moment, like, seeing, all right, I'm actually inspiring by those people. But one day you become inspiration to the other people.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is that?
It is crazy to think about. And to someone that's listening to this right now, understand that although that you're in your position that you're in right now, you're still inspiring, still motivating someone else. It's not always about money. People feel like, oh, I got to make $50 million, then I can influence people, then I can impact people. You're already an influence no matter what level you're at in life right now. Now, it's up to us to decide what we do with that influence. And a lot of times people get caught up in thinking they have to be just this huge person before anybody starts listening to them. And people are already listening.
Dude, I love it. Let's talk about why is that? Because that, like, to me, that's so much interesting, because like, when we're building stuff, when we're trying to make the money and like, living in a certain lifestyle, a lot of time, which is pretty sad. And I know me and you kind of in the same mentality, where we're doing it for us, we're doing it to help people, we're doing it to inspire people. But I know for sure there's a lot of people out there that doing it because they want to impress. And I think they're doing it for the wrong reason. Why do you think it's sometimes that case?
So I always like to start off these type of dialogues when it comes to why people do things to impress other people by simply saying they don't know who they are. When you know who you are and you understand not just your purpose, but you understand who is the real source of all your success, which is God, which is, you know, the man above, you stop doing certain things. You stop, you know, chasing this like gratification from other people, because 9 times out of 10, whoever you're trying to impress doesn't fuck with you anyways. Excuse me, can I, we good?
Do whatever you want.
Okay. So whoever you are trying to impress, if you have that feeling where, okay, I have to impress this person, I have to do this, I have to do that in order for them to, you know, spend time with you or mess with you or text you back or whatever the case may be. A lot of guys, we experience this with women.
Yeah.
Right? Like we feel like, oh, like let me buy this girl this, or let me send her a picture with, you know, with my abs and this and that. And it's like, dude, like, have you ever noticed that when a woman really likes you, or a person really genuinely wants to communicate with you, they like you because of who you are, man.
I agree.
So yeah, I think it comes from knowing who you are. It also comes with confidence, man. Like, one thing that people aren't teaching enough people about or talking about is how to build and sharpen your confidence, right? There are times where I've been in rooms as a young entrepreneur. All these guys are making all this money and different things, and my confidence just wasn't there, man. So I'm, you know, trying to do certain things to impress people, or I'm like, you know, oh, let me kind of like be these guys like water boy in a situation, but in the entrepreneurial space, a lot of you guys can relate to that that's listening to this.
For sure.
And I think we need to start talking about that more, is what practical things can you do to sharpen your confidence?
I think I can relate 100% to what you're saying. For example, I'll give you an example, right? This podcast, you know, I was just talking to Sedrick about like how I'm thankful to some of the guest speakers that came, you know, like some of them, just like Sedrick's, are already successful people that done a lot of stuff. And so, you know, in the beginning it was so hard for me to bring them. But what I always told them, you know, like sometimes, you know, I came to people saying I have a big podcast, even though I just started it. I already told to people I have a podcast way before I even recorded something.
I love it.
You know, I remember I told people like I have a podcast. Not that I was lying. I was telling them like in 2-3 months I'm gonna have my first episode. But you know, like this is exactly what you're saying is like, hey, be confident in what you're doing. Like be ambitious. You know, like know what you're trying to accomplish. And so I love what you just said. And so, Sedrick, let's go back to your tough challenges time. Mm-hmm. How you were able to deal in those times when it was happened, basically. So
I'll go back to my faith. God definitely kept me, even when I was making mistakes, being with the wrong crowd. You know, there were times where I was trying to push weight, sell packs, you know, and drugs and stuff like that. I was doing whatever it is that I could to get some money. And God kept me through all those times. There's a couple of times where, you know, I should have, you know, not been here, you know. So after staring death in the face a couple times, which is not a good feeling, you kind of realize, like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to still be here. So I have another fucking chance to do this. You can get life wrong 10,000 times. You just only have to be right once. That one time. So I heard that from Rick Ross. I also heard that from Les Brown.
By the way, shout out to Rick Ross. Simon, the guy that was sitting, was showing the podcast to Rick Ross, and he told me, yo, Rick Ross loved it. So it's crazy to me that I even came to Rick Ross.
That's amazing, man. So yeah, I mean, that was one thing. I had these the affirmations, mantras that I say to myself. And then I started touching my dreams. Okay. Now, this is a concept that I, you know, teach some of my students when I mentor stuff, is go to the dealerships where you want, you know, let's say there's a Mercedes AMG.
Dude, no way you're saying it. I literally did the same freaking thing.
Sit in the car, you know.
Oh my gosh,
even if you
crazy.
if you can't test drive it, dude. There was some times I'll pull up to a car lot, no license. So they'd be like, oh, why don't you want to test drive it? No, I'm just looking. But I had no license, so I'm like, I already know to myself,
wow,
I'm not going to be able to test drive this car. But then what happened is I went from sitting in the car, excuse me, I went from looking at the car online on myself and whatever, then I went into the dealership, sitting in the car, feeling how the steering wheel feels, smelling the car, smelling the leather, to then test driving. So now, I mean, if you guys are, on my Instagram, I mean, I drive six-figure cars whenever I want. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So that was one of the main things that helped me get through my adversity, is I was touching my dreams as I was headed to my dreams.
So you're saying essentially for the people that watch us, like this is a main factor for them to do. Like if you want to be somewhere, if you want to get it, like go and even if you can, like you mentioned, even if you want to get a Rolls Royce and you can't even get like close to it, but just feel it, feels the energy, and just, I'm sure once you're in there, you'll find like kind of motivation and inspiration. Then you'll be like, I can do it. I can.
Yeah, and I was crazy enough to started understanding that the more you do that, the more those moments kind of appear in some of your dreams, right? So you may have been having a dream, let's just say a Porsche, right? You had a dream of, I wanted to get a Porsche Panamera. I don't know why. I just felt like it was just a luxury car at the time, and I loved it, right? So, boom. I went from, like I said, seeing it on my phone, test driving the vehicle, and then when I had dreams about me driving a Porsche, it felt more real.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? So that's like a little life hack, and it may not even be cars, right? It could be, you want to open up a mom and pop shop, a restaurant, a beauty spa, or whatever. Go on some tours with realtors. Go on tours with people that, maybe even have what you have already, right? So yeah, man.
Dude, I love it. It's so crazy to me because I feel like, everybody that kind of started from nothing, going through the same stuff, like the fact that you mentioned going to the dealership there, I literally did the same freaking thing. I always wanted a Mercedes. I didn't bought a Mercedes because they gave me a bad deal, but it wasn't about that. But I just went there. I can get a Mercedes if I want today, but it just like, when I started my journey, I wanted to go and feel what is a Mercedes? What is, you know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy because I feel like a lot of the audience can relate to that. What do you think helped you the most? Was it the mental games that you were so strong, the confidence? If you're looking back at those 10 years, what helped you the most?
Identifying that I'm actually winning and scoring multiple times throughout the day. Okay. Now, a lot of times people get so fixated that they think they're so far away from this big goal, which typically you're just one conversation away. That's another gem for you guys. You're one conversation away from whatever goal, whatever dream. It just takes one conversation. So I started understanding that if I have 5 to 10 wins just in the morning, hey, I woke up, that's one win. Hey, I read my Bible, that's win number 2. I prayed. I was able to take a shower. I was able to brush my teeth. I was able to do all these small things that we take for granted on a daily basis. Then, oh shit, I got 10 wins before I even walk out the door. I had my first meeting. I'm lit. So I got married to that concept of making sure that I'm consciously aware that I'm having these small wins every single morning, every single day. So if you think about it, we're always winning. That's the problem. People think that they're losing.
But we're taking it for granted.
And they take it for granted.
You don't even know what you're winning in.
Exactly.
Like you don't even give it a thought.
Exactly. It never crosses your mind or is on your radar that you're winning. The people that are listening to this right now, you're winning. You know why? Because you're able to visually see this podcast. You're able to hear this podcast. Your brain is able to comprehend putting in the search bar, even finding this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Those are 3 wins right there. Sight, hearing, brain comprehension.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, bro.
So that's what I
and I love
doing.
it because I feel like, as bigger as you go, sometimes you lose the appreciation for the small stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes you forget that, like, wow, there's not a lot of people that do that.
Yeah. I mean, I would even say, because I got into it's not really trouble because, I mean, the case was dismissed. It was completely BS, so I can, freely talk about it on this podcast. But, when I was locked up, man, I took a lot of things for granted. A lot of things.
Wow.
One of those things being, just the freedom to, kind of come and go as I please. You know what I'm saying? I went through a situation, where an individual, lied on me. They told the authorities I did something to them,
Wow.
which, thank God I didn't do. But I took the freedom to, like I said, come and go as I please. I took the freedom of even, like I said, brushing my teeth with the toothpaste that I want and the kind of toothbrush that I want for granted. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
like the smallest of the smallest stuff.
Exactly. So when you talk about experiencing, experiencing times where you do get big, you make this money, you do this, you do that, and something silly as my situation happens, you start to understand that life, it's like a reminder, like life is about more than just chasing the bag. Life is about more than just, you know what I'm saying?
And that's why they say that, you can have all the money, but like, for example, if your health is not there, then you wouldn't you'll give up everything you ever worked for just to get your health back.
Exactly.
Like to me, that stuff is so crazy, but I always in consistent learning to how I appreciate more, like you mentioned, I'm always super, also like very into like God and religion. And I think we really need that, I think you really need to be appreciated for what you have and always start with appreciation, then like what's next for you and what do you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And I want to give you your flowers in this conversation real quick because, man, like, I don't know where you learned all this stuff from at 22, 23 years old, man. But I mean, you are absolutely crushing
Appreciate
it, brother.
that, bro.
Like
Appreciate that.
Real talk, man to man.
Appreciate that.
You're doing a damn thing, man. So, and I know you guys that are watching feel the same way. I mean, this guy has a heart of gold, but also as well, he has this different level of wisdom that actually reminds me about a couple people that are actually in the Bible, and it's kind of surreal to see.
Wow.
Because in the Bible several times it talks about different young men that have a certain level of wisdom that it's kind of like it's in you and not on you sort of situation. So that's the vibe that I get for you, man.
Dude, I appreciate that.
Sure.
To me, I'm sure the audience can relate. It's all like, this is what I even took to myself, in 2025, I said to myself, like, Tom, this year, your focus is just giving out to others, whatever you can.
Yeah.
Just give, I started to go out to places, giving like nice champagnes and stuff like that. It's not something that I want to, it's just like, I just really believe recently in like good energy.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, he blessed me with a really good champagne when he put up to the.
I mean,
content day.
hopefully we'll level up over the years, but I
really appreciate that.
Dude, I appreciate that.
So he's living what he's saying, y'all. He ain't just doing a bunch of lip service. He lives exactly what he's saying.
Because I wasn't even like doing that before, Again, I was always being nice, but I wanted to be even more nice and more,
Yeah.
Again, because this is what I learned is like you give, you get, And so I gave you, you invited me, then I'm inviting you to the podcast. Then it's becoming like a cycle. You give, I give, you give, I give, and we're just living life together.
Energy.
And I told Sedrick, I told you like hopefully once we create that big thing. I don't want to announce it soon, but obviously more than welcome to be invited. And this is it. Like, this is what I want people to know. It's like all about giving and, and expanding. Cedric, what do you think about, like being around the right people? Dude, I feel like this was the most help thing that got me to the place that I'm in today and the place that I will get, just because I understand how important it is on investing in myself, to being near people like you, people that, have tons of success. How important it was in your life to change your environment?
I took it so serious to the point where I was willing to sacrifice my current relationships for the relationships that I really wanted, man.
Wow.
I sacrificed being around, the boys that I grew up with in high school and all this other stuff. A lot of those guys are, love you guys to death, but I mean, they're not really doing much with their life. They're struggling or this or that, right? So I think that it's extremely important, right? A clear example, I started an MLM in multi-level marketing and stuff. If you guys don't know what that is, trading Forex and stuff, right? The people that were hanging around, they weren't thinking about investing. They were trying to figure out, okay, what warehouse are we about to work at this week or this month? Right? Like, my guys that, play football. Hey, how can I go JUCO? How can I go, play some arena football? And that was all their focus was on. I'm like, man, there has to be more than life than what we're talking about right now. You know what I mean? So it was so important to me that I was willing to sacrifice the current relationships that I had. And that's something that someone that's listening to this right now, that is exactly what you're going through. Your life isn't looking the way it's supposed to look. You're frustrated, you're depressed, you're about to pull your damn hair out. You're going to different vices, alcohol, drugs, going out, all these other things because of the relationships you expose yourself to on a daily basis.
Wow.
And typically it starts in the home, right? One of the things that I had to do as well is make sure that whoever my partner was, that relationship was feeding me, right? And that relationship was a representation of where I want to go.
So how was it? Because I've experienced the same thing, kind of, I'm sure there's a lot of people that experience like literally the same thing where they'll leave their neighborhood, they'll leave the people they grow up with just because it's not that they hate them. It's like they want to get to a different place.
Yeah.
But, sometimes when they do that, they feel so much negativity from the first group, like their initial group, whether it's friends, parents, family, whatever, because they're not used to it and they see you doing other stuff. So they kind of like it, but at the same time, they don't really like it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Because they don't, like this is the sad part about it. But how you were able to deal with, I'm sure there was some negativity towards you when you were getting bigger and.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's still negative, I guess you could say, energy, still there, man. That stuff never goes away. When I separated myself and, left my friends behind, whoever in Indiana and stuff like that, there are people that cheer me on, but then I also know that there are some people that are cheering me on, but really like have a knife behind their back or have a grin like, oh yeah, you have success, but
they don't really like it.
They're not really happy for me. Like they're
and you
saying
can
that
tell.
they are.
You can tell.
Yeah, you can always tell. No matter how clever they are or how clever they think that they are, you can always tell. So that's something that I deal with, and I deal with it by just accepting that that's what's going to happen in this life. Heavy is the one who wears the crown, right? The crown is heavy. I'm a king. You're a king. Our crowns are going to be heavy, bro. So. I'm not looking to please everybody. I'm not looking to, let me say the right things and this. And I'm not doing none of that. I'm being who I am.
You are Sedrick.
Yeah,
this is what you get.
Exactly. What you see is what you get. So, and it hasn't always been like that though. I don't want you guys to get misunderstood that, I just had this mindset and it was no. There were times where I would literally stress myself out, where I would start losing hair because I'm so focused on, I didn't look like this in front of this person.
Wow.
This person isn't texting me back because of this or that. And this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some people that I text, I would text, that I grew up with. I never did anything wrong to them. If anything, I added tons of value in their life, whatever. Can't even get a call back. Can't even get a text back. Nothing anymore. And it's because I've elevated to a space, why ain't you putting me on, man? Why ain't you sending me some money? Why you, man? You know I got kids, man. Why ain't you? Is that mentality? You know what I'm saying? So, when I do see people that are doing that, and this is something that you guys should pick up on as well, it is important that you just cut those people off and just let them be in their misery or whatever it is that they want to be in by themselves. You don't owe anybody anything. The only person you owe in this life is you.
Wow. So you essentially saying, as hard as it sounds, but that's the truth. Like, forget about the people. Don't necessarily forget about them, but don't give them attention to people that don't really want good for you.
100%. Yeah. And people like we were just saying, they disguise it. Sometimes it's your own family. Sometimes it's your friend. Sometimes it's your spouse, your loved one. I mean, I remember one time I was dating a woman and she was jealous of my success, right? So I had all these things going for myself, and instead of her understanding that she's a part of this success and we're doing this together, it was more so like her counting my pockets. It was more so her counting different things that I was doing as like, oh, well, you know, I'm not at that level or whatever. So her negative energy will then come on to me and affect what I'm doing. Another thing when it comes to, you know, relationships, male, female, whatever, is you have to make sure that if you are a 10 meaning, you're focused, you're dialed in, you're doing stuff, you know, spiritually, health-wise,
working
mentally.
out, you know, doing all those stuff, eating healthy.
Exactly. If you're doing all of those things and you're, you know, a 10 or headed towards being a 10, don't be with a 3. A 3 is an individual that typically is more lazy. It's not about procrastination. Is it important enough to you to make sure that you're doing things, you know, to help your health or finances and goals and all that type of stuff. And, you know, these people can be beautiful, right? They can be, I'm not talking about like just very surface level stuff. I'm talking about really deep, like, you know what I'm saying?
I love it, yeah.
You know, really deep stuff. You have to evaluate those things. Otherwise, like I said, those things are just gonna just tear you down, man. So yeah, that's just a little bit of advice to you guys. Just make sure that, you know, if you're headed towards a 10, don't be with a 3, because guess what?
That's some gems here, huh?
A 3 can bring you down all the way to their level, and then maybe to a 2 or a 1. And guess what you are able to do? If you're headed towards a 10, you can bring them up to a 6, up to a 7, up to
But
an
I
8.
feel like the problem with society today that they don't see it that way. They like,
Oh, yeah.
all right, what can you give me right now? Which Birkin can you buy for me? Which that?
Exactly.
Like it doesn't work like that, and they miss the point. Which led me to the next question that I want to ask you. It's like, bro, we both like living here, you know, like Miami, South Florida. Like, talk to us about the freaking competition that's going in this city. Like, I'm not even like, let's not talk about the girls right now. Like, just the freaking guys, bro. Like, I feel like this place, it's a whole competition, a whole war.
Yeah.
You know?
So
in some way, in a good way.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like, you can't sleep because of that. Like, oh shit, you just bought a Porsche, whatever, and the guy buy a jet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So
how do you deal with those stuff?
I think it's all healthy, man. I love competition. You know, in school, I played football, strong safety, outside linebacker. I wrestled and I ran track.
Wow.
So I love competition. I think competition is so important, and I think competition is what makes us better. If you're in an environment where everybody is moving slow and everybody is barely doing anything.
Wow, so I love it.
You know what I'm
seeing
saying?
it as a whole good thing.
Yeah. We in the jungle, baby.
Wow.
And it's either you gonna eat or get eaten. That's how Miami is, but not in this like negative, crazy
not
way.
in the negative, for
like,
sure.
But it's necessary, especially with the type of agenda I feel like that maybe the government and different people are pushing to make men soft in business and in life and stuff like that.
And like the people that make money, bad guys and all this. I don't understand it. You know, let me tell you this. When I go and I see people just like yourself or other people that are doing great stuff, I've never got like a bad impression or somebody that was not. Everybody was like, yo, Tom, you know, like, how can we help? What can we do together? And so I feel like a lot of people missing it out is sometimes, you know, they see somebody that is doing bigger, better, whatever, and they're afraid. Either they're afraid or they're thinking they're like a scammer or this or that. Why is that? Why do you think like people that are thinking small are like that? It's nuts.
I would say they're out of touch with reality. Okay, so perfect example. There are some actors and people that I've looked up to my entire life because I love film, I love acting, I love cinematography and all those things. Right? People worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, now you guys have been following what's going on in LA, houses being burned down, real estate. So there's people that are worth $200 million plus right now. assets gone, just like that. So people get too caught up, back to what we were talking about earlier, they get too caught up in, there's this big person and you're scared to compete, you're scared to talk to this person, this and that. It's like, guys, like, things can change in a blink of an eye.
Wow.
You have no idea how, perfect example. I have a funding company, and also I know other people that are doing this, that do funding as well, or even Chase, right? So anyways, there are people that are 8-figure, 9-figure, 10-figure people that if I was scared to network with those people, I wouldn't be able to help them. Hey, why don't you go over to Bank of America, man? They have this amazing program going on where you can, get some money, 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, so that you can start rebuilding your life again. But if I was scared, I would not even be able to help or be a resource to those other people, because life happens. We're all humans. We're all on the same team, whether you know it or not.
We probably all have also the same, emotions and same, like you mentioned, being afraid and not feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
By the way, how have you dealt with, I'm sure there's a lot of people that, want to network with the big leagues kind of thing. I've experienced it myself, like to me, people ask me like how, I was just telling you how you were able to bring a CEOs like that. I'm like, guys, this is not happening one day. I've been in networking events 4 years, 5 years already. Like this is not a one thing of like confidence, like, hey, just go to everybody.
Exactly.
But what are the tips you will give to the audience in terms of like networking in general?
So,
because I love this topic.
Yeah, so I want to give you guys some practical steps that you can actually do like right now instead of just spitting some guru mumbo jumbo at you, okay? So I think it all comes down to value, okay? Making sure, and some of you guys have probably heard this before, making sure you're valuable in every room that you go into, okay? Now, a part of, there's two routes that you guys can go. You can be the connector, which is an individual that can kind of broker relationships. Oh, hey man, yeah, I got a really good Rolodex. I'm not a millionaire, I'm not a billionaire, but I know a guy that knows a guy. Being that connector, you'll get so far ahead and it like accelerates your process. So that's number one. And the way that you guys can do that, once again, being practical, I'm pretty sure you guys have a Ruth's Chris. I'm pretty sure you guys have some nice steakhouse or something around you. Go to the bar every now and then. Network with the people that are there.
Go outside kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, for example, when I first started working in finance, I picked up my first clients by simply going to Ruth's Chris off of Keystone, which I'm from Indiana, so some of you guys might know where that's at. And dude, I would sit there and have mocktails and eat bread because I really didn't have any money. Like, I came there with 20, 30 bucks. And I would just sit there for hours and just network with people, laugh, have a good sense of humor, compliment people. And before you know it, I had all these connections. Oh yeah, I met a guy 2 weeks ago in the in this bar that may be a resource to you. Oh, you're looking to get some contractor work done? You know what? I met a contractor yesterday just sitting here having some drinks and like shooting the shit.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I started doing that. Another thing as well is you need to understand that the world runs on credit as well, okay? Now, this is something that a lot of people overlook, and this is something that took my life and my relationships to the next level when I'm in those rooms. Everybody needs credit to live, to have houses and mortgages and all these other things, right? So with that being said, I started to learn how to remove items from a credit report, as well as how to build a person's credit profile.
By the way, how people can check your stuff? Just tell them real quick to the audience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you guys check out Sedric's. I'm sure just from the podcast, man. Like, this is what I told Sedric. Like, people first connect to your story. Like, I feel like people will listen to your story and be like, oh shit, like this guy been through so much, he's been through that, he grew up. Like, I feel they will get way more connected to you right now than just people that want to just talk about their business and that's it.
Exactly.
And that's what I told Sedric, and I'm literally telling everybody, like all my guest speakers, like, because I really feel there's genuine connection first to the business.
Yeah. Yeah,
you
man.
know?
Yeah. So you guys can follow me on Instagram at SEDRICLOWERY with 2 Y's, like Mike Lowery. And I talk about this stuff all the time, but I also only talk about stuff on my social media and on podcasts of stuff that I actually lived. Guys, this isn't no regurgitated bullshit from some book I got from Barnes and Nobles or something I read out of
Real life experience.
No, this is all real things that I've done that are practical, that things that you guys can do right now to make sure that you guys, like the last question, making sure that you are valuable, you have confidence when you're in these certain rooms. So long story short, make sure that you're valuable. You can broker deals and relationships, or you can be an asset to someone by helping them with their credit.
Dude, I love it. Man, you give some jams out here.
Well, hey, I done been
Dude,
around the way,
I love it,
man.
bro. I love
way.
it. But this is what it's all about. And this is like, that's
1000%.
what I feel, man, like 2025, we want to help people, want to build the communities, you know, we want to do it together, you know, like.
Of course.
Seth, what do you think about relationships? I want to talk to you about relationships. Okay. You know, I feel a lot of people, especially in our space, like you mentioned, they do all of it to get the girls that they want, to get this, whatever, and get that. Why do you think it is? Why those people doesn't really do it anymore for them, like for their achievements, for their personal stuff, rather than want to do it for somebody else? For somebody else to say, you know what, I like you, you did that, great job.
Okay, so are you speaking more so from a which side? Business side, relationships, just friends?
So
what side?
I'm speaking about like kind of both in a way, because to me, like I know people that try their best, but they're really doing it just to impress. So I want to kind of hear your kind of opinion on that.
Yeah. So I went through a lot of that myself. So once again, I always talk about myself and
Love
stuff
it.
that I've been through. So I was doing it because I wanted to be loved. Okay. Now, I don't care who you are. As human beings, that is something that we all desire, from friendships, romantic relationships, your parents, associate, like you want to be loved. And that was one thing that through therapy I discovered, okay? So I was mistaking an individual expressing happiness or joy based off of something that I've done for them as love. Meaning in a more practical sense, if I go and buy someone something as a gift, I got addicted to how that person reacts. So then I pick that up. So now it's a habit. Okay, anytime I'm feeling depressed or down, my business is not going well, okay, I'm gonna go put a smile on somebody's face. I'm gonna go take this girl out and give her a better experience than what she probably deserved, or friends, works with friends as well. You know, I may do something extra to make everyone happy, but that really didn't do anything or solve the problem that's at hand. And I know somebody that's listening to this right now, that's what they're going through. You know, whenever they feel down, you know, it may be $100, 50, whatever. They may go buy a bottle. Right? They may take their friends out to lunch. I know a lot of people that do this. There's a lot of you guys out here that will take friends out on outings and do all these other things, not because you genuinely want to do it.
Just want them to love you kind of thing.
It's because you're looking for love. You're looking for that gratification. You're looking for like that feeling, that dopamine of an individual being happy and you making them happy from doing something. So that's what I think a lot of people are doing nowadays. But you got to identify it first. So that's my opinion, man.
Wow. That's a huge point, by the way. I feel like, that's what's going to help people to really understand, like, first you got to love yourself.
Ding, ding.
Love
ding,
who
ding.
you are. Understand what is it about you that you don't need other people to love you first. Well, first it's all start, do you love yourself? Like, do you feel confident about yourself? And so how you were able to build, Sedrick, the confidence inside you over the years?
So I would say I built up this imaginary persona inside of my own head, right? That it sounds a little bit crazy, but it's almost like the Deion Sanders effect sort of deal.
What
right?
I learned, bro, there is nothing crazy. You know, crazy, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Because it's always start with something crazy.
Yeah. So I remember I was doing this this mentorship accelerator. We titled it as the superstar inside of you. So I created this superstar in my mind before you guys even saw it. I created this superstar 10 years ago when I was flat broke, before I had the Cartier on my wrist, before I had the suits, before I had the this, the that, the red, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So there's a superstar in all of us. Why not be the superstar of your movie? Why not be this amazing person that, yeah, you may go through your ups and downs or whatever, but I don't know, man. I think it's just so important to have a wild imagination in this life, man. So I would say that, and I just kept feeding it, man. You know, I've changed like my slogans a couple times as an entrepreneur. You know, I was suave smooth. I was been on a million. I was this. I was that. Like, I kept fresh things going. That was fun. You know, whether I was going through stuff or not. So, man, that's been one of the biggest things that's helped me build me up. Is like, I had fun with this shit, man. Why not? Like, why not?
And that's the thing. That's what I feel like. You're getting a lot of success, and that's what I feel. You know, this is what I talk to you about, is like, dude, the success energy, the good energy, the smiling to other people. Like, sometimes people like forget about like those simple stuff. Just give a smile to somebody. Maybe when you're going on a coffee shop, maybe, you know, you're going in Brickell and there's a lot, like, smile to someone and say, hey, dude, long story short, this is exactly how we met.
Yeah.
I forgot about it, but this is exactly. So guys, literally I was wearing like this green suit or whatever, and Sedrick.
That was fire, by the way. That was fire.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
And so literally Sedrick came up to me and said, yo, man, I like your suit. 3 words, he told me. And like, look where it got us. Now he's sitting on my podcast. Wherever I went to, he called me on a private jet. Like, dude, how crazy it is. From 3 words.
3 words.
And so sometimes a lot of people, like, they're afraid, or like, I just don't get why. Like, why wait? If you see something, say something.
Yeah. And dang, I just feel like I want to give another practical way that people can to help them with that.
That's what they all hear, bro.
So if you start consciously giving yourself only a 5-second window to act on either introducing yourself when you're out, or just any idea that you have, that's something that I started doing as well, right? So if I walk into a restaurant, a bar, or I'm out networking, I'm like, damn, I want to talk to that person. Even with you, I give myself 5 seconds to do it. Otherwise, it's like you didn't, like, I don't know, like, it's like, stop being a bitch, like just do it.
Mentality,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
wow,
like it's like within those 5 seconds, you need to act on whatever it is that you thought about. And sometimes that could even just be writing it down in your notes. Oh, I had this amazing idea for a new show. Okay, and boom, you write it down. Or you make that phone call. Oh, I know exactly who could be the camera person. I know exactly who I could have on the show. So, you know, those are like just some practical trainings that I would do. Is like, okay, 5 seconds, and I would count in my head.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, and then boom, I gotta go.
Wow.
So yeah, that's something I still do to this day. The 5-second rule.
Great tip, by the way. Damn, bro. What do you think is success? What does like success means to you, bro? I want to know.
Success to me is an ever-changing thing in a person's life. Okay, so sometimes people think that once I get all the way to the top of the mountain, then I'm successful. No, there's a lot of times where you're successful at the level that you're at, right? So, for example, when you get out of high school, what's the first thing that people typically think about? Oh, how can I go to college, get a good job? Or, hey, let me actually land my first job that's gonna, give me the stepping stool to a career. Okay, you were successful at that. You weren't making $1 million, billion, cajillion dollars. You know what I mean? So, I would definitely say that success is a forever changing thing. One. Number two, success for me in my life right now is not about what people are saying about me right now, but what my kids are going to be saying. It's going to be saying about me when I'm gone, or even while I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I get it, bro. Like you're living life, you're doing crazy stuff. But what your kids got to say about you? What's your wife at home that really knows what's going on with you?
Wow.
What does she think about you? All good stuff, right? Like I'm talking about a really good, wholesome,
Deep
in-tune
down,
person.
like,
Yeah. What do these people have to say about you? And that's going to be my version of success in this next chapter in my life is what my kids have to say. Are they going to say that I've just been this neglectful, piece of crap dad, or are they going to say, you know what? People respect him, and we respect him, and he's a good man.
Wow.
That's my version of success going into this next chapter. It's not going to be about money. It's not going to be about, this or that. Yes, I'm going to achieve great things because I expect to win. But that's what I'm going to care about is how my wife, how my family, how, my nieces and nephew, all 11 of them. I know some of my nieces and nephews are old enough and they're going to watch this podcast. Yes. What do they have to say about me? You know what I'm saying? Like right now, one of the things that gives me the most joy is going home during the holidays because they see me as this superstar. They see me as this guy filled with wisdom. They see me as this guy that, y'all ready for Santa Claus, but I'm ready for my Uncle Sedrick to come into town. Like my nephews really said that to my mom, and it made me crack up. Like she was in the car with them. They was out getting some food and stuff. She's like, oh, like, you guys ready for Santa? They're like, no, we're ready for Uncle Sedrick. And that's success.
Wow.
That's success.
Dude, I love it. Let me tell you about this. I found myself, I don't know if there's not a lot of people like that, but to me, dude, if somebody is successful, like he already got my respect. Mm-hmm. No matter if you got 1,500,000, whatever it is. You know what I mean? If somebody doing something good and something right, I would respect him. I would love him. I would try to do something with him. I'll try to learn from him. But let me tell you this. I don't know why there is so many people out there that literally look at this in opposite and say, oh, this guy probably a scammer. This guy probably this, that. This guy is this. And like, why is it? Like, why there's always like, I feel like there's tons of negativity towards successful people.
So it goes back to what I was saying. I think that's something that's being pushed by the media to separate people that are highly successful and people that are not. So I think there's a whole agenda going on in the middle there. And then also as well, people are just misinformed. I was watching this other podcast where this guy was, getting on this gentleman that was on the show because he wasn't wearing a black-owned brand, and he was wearing Louis Vuitton. The silliest thing in the world, right? Wow. And he was like, I'm wearing this not because I have to, it's so that I can relate to my audience. It's so that people, when I speak and I articulate myself and I'm saying things that are powerful, people will listen to me. And that is, that is so true, but sometimes people try to take those things and twist them into a negative. The devil's always working, man.
Dude, I love it.
The devil is always working. And also another thing, without going, into a rabbit hole in this, is understand that we are in this world, but not of this world. The people that are of this world, there's no matter what you do. Oh, you could be a guy that just has a magazine company and you become a multi-billionaire in that. You haven't harmed anybody, you haven't done anything wrong. Guess what? People are still going to say, oh, yeah, he snaked his way to the top. Oh, this guy stabbed somebody in the back. He did this, he did that. That's because, like I said, the devil is always at work, man. He's always at work, trying to find somebody he can infiltrate to tear somebody else down. That's his job on this planet. That's why, like I said, we are in this world, but not of this world. So you can't get too caught up on the worldly negativity, the worldly propaganda that goes on.
Damn, bro. What an episode, bro.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a lot. Sedrick, how can they find you, bro?
Okay, so you guys can find me on Instagram at Sedrick, Lowery, with 2 Y's, like Mike Lowery. Also, as well, you guys can find me on YouTube by just simply typing in my name as well. And then here pretty soon, you guys can find me on Netflix.
Dude, let's go. Let's go. Guys, thank you so much for joining. As you guys know and as you guys see, I'm always trying to bring you people that will inspire you, elevate you. And don't forget, you need to give in order to get. And so make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you guys comment. Make sure you guys share it with a friend that will get inspired from that. And I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Appreciate you, brother.
Of course, bro. Of course. All love, bro.